So, hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you for joining. Uh, Thank you for connecting for this webinar, Blockchain, the Next Era of Internet. My name is Tamim Al Hassan and I will be moderating today's webinar. I am a civil engineer by profession and currently working as Senior Associate in Sukna Ventures, which is a early stage venture capital investment firm which invests in in technological companies in MENA region. I'm also Vice President of GWS Gulbarga Welfare Society Riyadh chapter, which is actually organizing today's webinar. So before we kickstart the session, I just want to give a quick I want to set a quick some rules for today's webinar. So speakers will be allowed to speak and everyone will keep their mics on mute. Everyone will keep their cameras turned on because there will be frequent photo shoots and interactive sessions maybe in the session. So it's quite advisable to keep your cameras turned on and mics off. Whoever is requested, maybe they can turn their mics on. There will be question and answer session in the end. So all the questions will be attended towards the end of the session. So today's session will be approximately 1.5 hours long. It will be in 3 parts. The first will be a welcome session, and then the speaker will take the audience through today's subject, and in the end there will be a short closing session. So let's kickstart our webinar session today with a beautiful recitation of Quran by Brother Akhil Furqan. I would like to ask Brother Akhil to take it over and start with the recitation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين وإن عاقبتم فعاقبوا بمثل ما عوقبتم به ولئن صبرتم لهو خير للصابرين واصبر وما صبرك إلا بالله ولا تحزن عليهم ولا تك في ضيق مما يمكرون إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون. صدق الله العظيم.
Brother Akhil, thank you for blessing this webinar with such a beautiful and soulful recitation. We are blessed to have you here today. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, moving on, I would like to invite Vice President of GWS Riyadh chapter, Mr. Mukhtar Jagirdar, to welcome the attendees.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Sorry, Mukhtar, but you are muted. Can you please unmute? Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have got an opportunity to grace a welcome speech. First of all, I welcome Chief Guest, Mr. Nasir Khurshid Sahab, and today event instructor, Mr. Intishal Ali. And finally, I welcome all the audience and thank you for taking the time to join us today as we talk about blockchain, next era of internet. Today in our topic, we will cover blockchain fundamental introduction to blockchain, understanding blockchain, and many more topics so you can learn. To make sure we are helping you best as we can on blockchain, the next era of internet. We have a chat box to secure source your question and answers. Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Mr. Mukhtar, for welcoming everyone to this session. So moving on, we all know that we have gathered here to learn about blockchain technology and how this is going to potentially, impact our future. Before we do that, it will be, ideally and better to know who we are learning this from. So to do that, I would like to invite Engineer Mohammad Hisamuddin, who is our PR Manager and Membership Coordinator at Gulbarga Welfare Society Riyadh Chapter, to take over the mic and introduce our speaker of today's webinar. Mr. Hisamuddin.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Myself, Engineer Muhammad Isamuddin, Public Relations and Membership Coordinator of Gulbarga Welfare Society, Riyadh Chapter, has got opportunity to introduce our event instructor, Mr. Intishal Ali. He is an Indian national based in Dubai for the last 10 years, working as a regional manager, looking after 48 countries in Europe, Middle East, and Central Asia for an IT company called Semsotech. He has been an ex-professor back home in KC College, Mumbai, and a guest faculty at Siddharth College, Mumbai. Before joining corporate world in Dubai, Engineer Intishal Ali is very passionate about learning, career guidance, traveling, and exploring new ideas. Again, I request Engineer Intishal Ali to take a stage or mic to start a long awaiting section, blockchain, the next era of internet. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Engineer Hisamuddin. So without any further ado, I'd like to invite Engineer Intishal to take over the proceedings. You can start sharing your screen and address the audience.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hisham. Thank you so much to all the dignitaries and members of Gulbarga Welfare Society Riyadh Chapter, and to all the friends who have been connected from different parts of the world. First of all, I would like to thank the JWS Riyadh Chapter for this wonderful opportunity, and I would like to congratulate them, especially for taking such initiatives in educating and opening up a plethora of opportunities of learning for people of based in many places. So without much of the things, I'll just start. I hope like almost 83 participants have joined. So just let me know if I can go ahead, and or we should wait for a minute or two to people to join.
I think we can start. We have almost 80 plus participants. So
okay.
Proceed.
Okay. So before I begin with my presentation, there are two things I would like to request everyone. One is please keep your questions for the end. So once I finish the session, I'll answer all the questions. Please don't ask any questions in between the presentation. Second thing, on the chat, I have shared one web link. It is for an audience poll. There are two polls that will be there during this presentation. So I would like you to participate in that. There are some limits on that. Let me be very clear with you. So, but we'll give 30 seconds for you to vote on that. Okay, those are simple questions, easy to answer. So the link is shared on the chat, and you can just keep it open on your devices. So let me just share my screen and start with. Okay, I hope you can see the screen.
We can see the screen. Yeah, it's in the presentation mode. Perfect.
I'll just close and restart my PPT.
Okay. Yeah. So we are waiting for host to share the screen. We'll start in a few seconds.
Can I just request to don't make me a co-host because everything this admit window is popping up.
Perfect.
So-
We'll undo that.
And just allow me multiple sharing. That's it.
Yeah.
Somebody is putting that he can't hear audio.
Is it audible now, Mr. Arshad? I think we are audible.
The voice is clear. Voice is clear.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Mr. Imdad, can you just disable this because continuously that thing is popping up. Don't make me a co-host.
Perfect. I think we can start now.
You can start. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll share the screen.
You can share your screen. Can you? I make you.
Okay. So I'll start. Am
Yeah.
I audible? Okay. So before I begin with the presentation, there is a small disclaimer that I want to put it on. This presentation, this session has been developed and is being produced only for the educational purpose. I am in no way an investment advisor or anything of how to trade or sell or purchase cryptocurrencies. So this is only for the educational purpose. I'm not here to promote any cryptocurrencies as such. But as for the entertainment part, we will do discuss about the cryptocurrencies in the beginning and in the middle. So just to understand the concept, because cryptocurrency is one of the applications of the blockchain technology. So I want to be clear in the beginning itself. So please don't ask me any questions related to which cryptocurrency to buy or sell or how to invest. Okay. So let me start with my presentation. Now, what you see on the screen is a small email forum which is called Pizza for Bitcoins. A year and a half after Satoshi Nakamoto, who's a person who laid out blockchain and Bitcoin, somebody sent an email to this forum. But this is a real live email. It says, I'll pay you 10,000 Bitcoins for a couple of pizzas. The guy who sent this, he says, I like onion, peppers, sausage, and mushrooms. Now catch the date. Just see the date. It is May 18, 2010. And he's offering 10,000 Bitcoins on that date for a couple of pizzas. At that time, in 2010, till this date, nobody has used Bitcoins as a medium of currency exchange. 16 months into its existence, nobody had used it to buy something. And Laszlo, who was a computer scientist in Florida, was just kind of interested in using it. So he put this ad on an email list. That time there were no direct emails, it was an email list. Today we call it as a forum. After 4 days, again he posted that he has received the pizzas and in exchange of 10,000 bitcoins. So there was a company, pizza supplier. So they have actually traded 10,000 bitcoins. They took from Laszlo and supplied him the pizzas. And that company was none other than Papa John's Pizza Companies. Anybody can guess what was the 10,000 bitcoins worth on May 18, 2010? Oh, let me just put up a small poll. Do you think you should have invested in Bitcoin? Okay. Okay, let me not put the poll now. Let us move with the presentation. Okay, at that time, the value of 10,000 bitcoins on May 22nd was almost $41, which corresponds to, at the time, Indian currency was 1,855. And when we talk about today, this 10,000 bitcoins is worth almost 452 million, which is almost 3,460 crores. So you can just imagine what was the worth 12 years back of Bitcoin was. Less than 12 years. So those who have, invested at that time, they will be, I wouldn't say millionaire, it would be too disrespecting, billionaires by that time. So this is what the value of one Bitcoin as of today. So it's almost 45,263 billion, 63 US dollars. But many a times,
Sorry for the interruption, Mr. Indishal, please proceed. Just
can
one
you
request.
see the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen, but we can also see your the chat or the
Okay.
notes.
Notes. Okay. So many times, this has happened that people have this notion that Bitcoin is a blockchain. But let me put it very clearly: Bitcoin is not equal to blockchain at all. So this is something that you have to be very clear. Now imagine you are living in a world in future where you can verify the origin and the location of all the products in real time on demand from anywhere, or you can perform international money transfer without any intermediate bank or a currency exchange house, without paying any service charges, and not to be worried about any fraudulent transactions at all. Or suppose you have a trusted immutable, which is, let's say, nobody can modify that record of all assets that you own and even the transaction history. Or you will have some business contracts which will execute by itself if a certain conditions are met, and automatically the transaction happens, the trade happens, the money transfer happens without any middleman. Imagine living in such a world. And this can only be possible by a technology, which is the topic for today that I'm going to take, blockchain. Let me start with a small video which will set the entire base for the presentation. Just let me know you can hear the audio for the video.
Modern technology allows people to communicate directly. Voice and video calls, emails, pictures and instant messages travel directly from A to B, maintaining trust between individuals no matter how far apart they are. When it comes to money, people have to trust a third party to be able to complete a transaction. blockchain technology is challenging the status quo in a radical way. By using math and cryptography, blockchain provides an open, decentralized database of any transaction involving value, money, goods, property, work, or even votes, creating a record whose authenticity can be verified by the entire community. The future global economy will move towards one of distributed property and trust, where anyone with access to the internet can get involved in blockchain-based transactions, and third-party trust organizations may no longer be necessary. The uses of blockchain technology are endless. Some expect that in less than 10 years, it will be used to collect taxes. It will make it easier for immigrants to send money back to countries where access to financial institutions is limited. Financial fraud will be significantly reduced, as every transaction will be recorded on a public and distributed ledger, which will be accessible by anyone who has an internet connection. Think of it as wills and contracts that execute themselves, or dated proof of existence for ideas, much like a patent. Blockchain will become a global, decentralized source of trust, but not everyone is ready to embrace it. A huge proportion of trust services, from banking to notaries, will face challenges on price, volume, and in some cases, their very survival. Public authorities could find it more and more difficult to enforce traditional financial regulations due to the new possibilities offered by the Bitcoin network to bypass traditional financial intermediaries. Unimagined new networks will evolve to meet society's needs more cheaply and potentially more securely. Will governments, financial and legal institutions embrace blockchain? What will happen to the ones who don't?
So you can just went through a small video, which is, making things much more clear about what we are going to discuss today. Moving on, let's see what is the agenda for today. So I'm going to speak about the fundamentals of blockchain. We'll see the history. Understand the blockchain analogy with my family tree example, gap analysis of the technologies in the last 600 years and where we are today. Then I'm going to take you to the introduction to blockchain, various concepts. Then we'll understand the blockchain, what is going to change. We're going to see some of the examples to understand things better. We'll have a very short thing on a Bitcoin of how it works. I've taken example of Bitcoin because that's the largest cryptocurrency running on a blockchain at the moment. Next, we are going to see what are the smart contracts, which is something very new. Next, we'll see what are the applications of blockchain in various industries, plus some more applications of blockchain and the key takeaways or the conclusion, we can say. So let's directly jump into the fundamentals of blockchain. The first thing that we are going to talk about is the history. So as you can see, Stuart Haber and Scott Stornetta were the first person who started working on this concept of a blockchain. They started working from the year 1991. And when Satoshi Nakamoto releases the Bitcoin white paper, that was the time when people heard of blockchain. So Bitcoin and blockchain goes synonymously with each other. So many a time people think that blockchain is what Bitcoin is. No, it's not. Bitcoin is an application of running under the blockchain technology. And you can see in 2010, as I said, the first Bitcoin purchase of 10,000 was done. Then a lot more transactions starts happening from 2013 onwards. The Bitcoin marketplace surpasses almost $1 billion. And at the same time, there is another company called Ethereum. Some people have heard of Ethereum cryptocurrency as well. It's same like Bitcoin. So it was released by Vitalik Buterin from Ethereum company. He releases the white paper. Then there were a lot of consortium was formed from 2014 onwards on blockchain technology. Then Ethereum also introduced Ethereum Genesis and smart contracts. And you can see from the year 2016, more and more use of blockchain started. And many cryptocurrencies also come up. Many applications also comes up on the working on a blockchain technology. And this is at this point of time, you can see there is plethora of applications. So don't think that blockchain is only with the cryptocurrency. No, blockchain is a technology, like how we have different technologies today and in this scenarios all over the world. Just to give you an example, let's see the technological revolution. So you see there is cloud computing. You've heard of Internet of Things. You have heard of big data, mobility, machine learning, artificial intelligence. Similarly to them, blockchain is also another technology. And what is the internet for today? Let me just put it. The internet of today is internet of information. So you can email. What we do with internet? We have websites, we have social media, we share photos, we share videos, we watch videos, we send documentations, emails, then we share, we transact online shopping. So this, I term it as internet of information. It lacks something. What it lacks? The internet of value. And what I mean by internet of value is that apart from those things, we'll be able to we can also have an electronic voting. People sitting outside the country can vote in India. Just imagine. Then there we can upload our assets, our intellectual property right, our money, our bonds, stocks, everything. So what is the need for today is the internet of value. Even art, whether it's a visual art or a music or anything, this is what we need today. And this can be done with a blockchain. Now let's go back 40 years before the architecture of internet. So at that time, architecture of internet was like this. This is a place in New York where so universities, students connect to each other. These dots are actually the network through which they connected. Just imagine 40 years back where we were. This was the internet in a city. And just imagine where we are right now. You all are connected from your secret places in your house with a Wi-Fi device. So just imagine 40 years before where we were and where we have come today after 40 years. What is the shape of internet? And we have to understand the blockchain, which I say it's a new model of an internet. It's still in the early stages. It's still very much new. But you have to understand with blockchain, what will be the world 40 years from now? Like same thing what happens with the internet. So you have to think not at the present completely, but the future holds a lot of potential for this technology. Now let's go through a gap analysis of technologies in the last 600 years. With the advent of printing press in 14th century, knowledge gap was eradicated. Same when the combustion engine was introduced or the machines were introduced. The gap that was filled was a power gap. Before that, there was slavery. There were manpower who used to work, but with the advent of engine, the slavery was eliminated, eradicated. So it basically fills the power gap. In the 19th century, with the advent of internet, the world becomes a very shorter place. We were easily connected to each one. We can chat, we can send an email, we can connect people in real time. And the gap that was filled was a distance gap. Now, in 20th century, more probably in today's times, there is another gap that is building, and that gaps need to be filled. And the technology which will fill this gap, we are going to talk about this gap, what that gap is in later part of our presentation. But the technology that is going to fill this gap is called blockchain, and it's nothing but the next era of internet. So yes, it's a web technology, it's a technology of an internet. Without internet, it will not work. So let me explain you what blockchain technology is through an analogy. I'll give you an example of my family tree. Now, we have a tradition in my family. We have a website, and we share it with all our family members only. So what happens? Whenever somebody wants to see our history in my family, let's say my grandchildren or great grandchildren, they would like to see, they will have access to this. So they can just see the history of ours family dated back almost 100 years. So what happens? Just imagine we have a family clan. So sometimes any new members are added, or let's say there is an birth of an offspring, or somebody gets married. So what we do, we add that member to this family tree. So what happens whenever a new member is added, we have a consensus. So we sent out to everyone that we are adding. Let's say my brother got married last year. So his wife name was added. So we have a consensus. So everybody approves it and we add it to the family tree. There were cases in our family where some of the marriages were not endorsed by our family members. So they told, don't add this to their family. There can be a cases like this for last 100 years where it was not endorsed. Okay, or let's say somebody died. Okay, lately many people in my family died. So we update this family tree, we remove them, or we highlight them as dead. But we do it only when everybody gives a consent. Okay to add, okay to update the status of a person in the family tree. So you can see we have a consensus. Now with this family tree, let's suppose an example. Somebody crops up in Mumbai and tell me that you are my father, or he make a claim that I belong to this family tree. I'm a son of so and so person in this family tree. Now, since we have recorded this, he cannot claim that. Anybody looking at the family tree cannot do that. Or let's say, suppose some people tell us since we share the last name, I'm a part of your family, let's say 50 years back. So the new generation can just refer to the family tree. They don't know. We update this family tree traditionally and you are not there. So nobody can claim to be a part of. Same thing, blockchain works like that. Nobody has a centralized control. It's distributed and there is a consensus. So introduction to blockchain. So what is the definition of a blockchain? So blockchain is a decentralized, distributed public ledger system. So to understand more, let's break up these words and see what it is. Now to understand what is decentralization and distributed, we need to understand what is centralization. So as you can see on the screen, there is a centralized computer and everybody is connected to it. That means the power to take any decision lies with the central authority or the centralized system. We have so many centralized systems like this. We have Zomato, we have Talabat, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. So even though these guys have the most power, but they rely on your trust to stay functional. See, if I don't trust Zomato, it's a centralized system, correct? You order, they take the money, they contact the restaurants, and so every control, all the rules and regulation for that app, let's say Zomato, is with Zomato itself. All powers are with them, but they have to rely on your trust to stay functional, to operate. Because if I don't trust Zomato, I will not buy from them. Okay. So trust is a very important factor in centralization. And what is decentralized? It's the opposite of a centralization. In decentralized, there is no single authority which have all the powers. So power is distributed among different entities, different computer systems, for example. So no single authority, a computer system or a system makes a decision. It's spread over different entities. And what I mean by distributed, that it is. Can I ask, please, audience, to just mute it? Thank you. So in case of a distributed, it's distributed at different places. Again, you can see there is no central control over that. And that is what exactly blockchain is. It's decentralized and distributed. I'll make it more clear in further examples. So distributed and decentralized, you understood. What is a ledger? I said it's a public distributed ledger. So ledger is basically a book. In old days, we used to have an account book, or nowadays we have computer file, in which a company or a person writes down all the transactions of all the amounts that money spends and receives. So it's like a book of statement. What is spent and what is received. That is called a ledger. So blockchain is a decentralized, distributed public ledger. Again, I'm taking public ledger. So means everybody has a copy of this ledger. It's not residing only with one. To better understand, let's see what is a centralized ledger and a distributed ledger. So as you can see, in a centralized ledger, the ledger, that book of statement, is maintained by the central authority. Now, in our case, in real life, it's a bank. So bank has all the account holders information and they take all the decisions. Whereas in a distributed ledger, power is not only with the centralized, but with everyone. Okay, so in dependency, when it comes to dependency, there is one central party which is dependent. Everybody has to be dependent on a central party in case of centralized. In case of distributed, every party is dependent on each other. So they are independent, not say dependent, independent. Now control, as you can see, central party holds that ledger book, but here every party holds a copy of the ledger. Power, only the central party. Here, nobody has a power over any other one. Accountability, the central party can tamper with the data without other parties knowing. Cases have happened with the bank, correct? People have just looted the bank and ran away. They have not made payment to the bank because they have the authority to tamper with the data without. But when it comes to distributed ledger, it provides accountability over who has changed the data or who has tampered with the data, who has made a mess of the data. There you can easily find out in a distributed ledger. Now let's understand the blockchain. You know, to transact in any business, the most ultimate thing that we have to do is trust. Trust is a very important factor of how we do daily to daily transactions. Without trust, we cannot transact on a daily business transactions. And it's not that trust in business started now. Trust in business started very early, even from the cavemen, all through the industrial age, and today in the information age as well. So trust with each other is very, very important. And in order to transact, okay, see, when I want to transact with a particular new website, let's say, I make an account on Amazon AE and I'm going to purchase something. So normally we manufacture trust, okay, but still there is a huge trust gap, which we have to, further fill it. And normally we fill that gap by our guts or experience or instincts or some recommendations. Let's say if somebody tells me, for my daughter, this particular school is good. Okay. I will manufacture some trust from zero trust to, let's say, 1% trust. I will manufacture. I will find out the details of the school. I'll find out what are the syllabus. I'll find out how the schools function, everything. But there will still be a huge trust gap which is yet to be filled. But that I will take a decision on my gut or somebody's recommendation. So go from zero trust to abundant trust. This is the process. And this happens in every business transactions, every businesses that we do today. So I must trust you to transact with you. And we manufacture. So that first step of manufacturing the trust so that we can transact. So let's understand this blockchain with an example of buying your dream house. Now, understand one thing. If you have bought a house, many places, many cities have this called a ledger, where each history is recorded, what has happened to that house, right from the scratch on the plot it was built till today. So every entry is made in a book. So let's say we are keeping ledgers of our houses that we are going to purchase right from its construction till today. So let's say there is a ledger which is maintained. So the first entry comes in 1976. It was sold to owner one. 1980, a 20,000 renovation was done to that house. Then the house was expanded. 1980 again. 1989, it was sold to owner number two. There was a failed inspection in 1992 by the authorities. It was sold to owner 3 that time. Again, now in 1993, there is a 50,000 renovation was done. And in 2001, there was an electrical fire. So this is, understand, let's say my house, and this is a history from 1976. And this has been maintained with, let's say, a municipality department or with the developer, and I have all the papers. Okay, so I understand, I've put it in my Excel sheet. These are the entries. Now understand, see, as I said, if it is maintained with a central authority, anybody can tamper with it, correct? So let's say one entry is missing from the year 1992. As you can see, that it was a failed inspection, correct? So somebody just tampers with it. Now what happened? If somebody has tampered with it, the new owner, let's say owner number 4, if you're gonna buy his house, he will have the house which failed an inspection. So that record is missing. And he would be, it will be of commit fraud, correct? Because it was having a failed inspection, and somebody has bought a house which was not approved by the authority. So this is the problem with today's ledger. It's tamperable. Anybody can change any record. Even suppose if I want to tamper with my records of my house, I can bribe someone in the municipality department or with the real estate department or even my developer and tell them this thing didn't happen. Like normally I've seen, for just to give you another example, I've seen when I was going to buy a car, a second-hand car, I was looking in the market. Some people have hide that history. They have just put, a nice color, original color on that. They didn't even report it to the authority that was accident. They put their money and repaired it. So this is the problem with today's ledger. But if it was have been on a public distributed ledger, nobody can tamper with it. We'll see it later. So somebody tampers with the data, and instead of failed inspection, they add a record. They have put a one entry that a new chimney was installed. It was not installed in 1992, but it was installed recently. But in the record, backdated, they have tampered with it. So now what has to happen? The person who is buying another owner number 4, who's going to buy this house, he will be paying more just for the new chimney, but with the failed inspection, the price should have come down. This is the problem with today's ledger. But when you talk about blockchain and what we have done, see, let's say Imdad wants to buy a house in Mumbai from me. So it's not that I have all the titles kept at my house, all the history, all the records, and I tell him, okay, Imdad, come to my house. These are the titles. Please verify it. Pay me the money, and this house is yours. He will not trust me. That's why we have introduced in society some middlemen, some intermediaries. And what are those? Those are banks, financial institutions, money transfers, foreign exchange, brokers, and we pay a huge amount to these people. Okay, that's as a part of a society, since we don't trust 100% completely. So we put this middleman in between. So let's say, what is a blockchain ledger? Now let's put the same entry. And suppose this ledger, just imagine, I'm not going to go in complex into how the technical things work, but understand there is a blockchain ledger and how the entries are made to this blockchain ledger. So in 1976, the developer sold it to owner number 1. And as you can see, what happens, there is a computer algorithm for this entry. So this record, as you can see, 001 sold to owner for this year, is run through a computer algorithm, through a software, and a key is generated. Okay, this key, just understand, it's called a cryptography key, but I'm not going to go into cryptography. Just understand, it's a secret password key, not known to everybody else. The one who has entered this entry will hold this key. Now, what happens when a next record is written on the ledger? So the record of the first record, along with this public key, and the content of the second record, this owner and renovation in 1980, all this went through a software, and out comes another public key. Again, when the third record is written, so all the previous 2 records along with their public keys, the third record, which is architect house extension, run through a software, and out comes a third key. And this process goes on and on. Okay. Now let's say if somebody wants to tamper with it, somebody wants to change a record. Let's say he tries to do a failed inspection. So somebody tries to remove this record in the blockchain. This will not be possible, because in blockchain ledger it is immutable. As you can see, there is a dependency. When I said the first record happens, key is generated. In the second record, it has the contents of the first record as well as the key. So if somebody tries to tamper with it, there is already a record of the previous written in that. So nobody can just change or modify that record, because those are formed as a chain. That's why it's called blockchain. Okay. Let me make it more clear. Let's see that, as I said, there are these 8 peoples in a real estate chain. So everybody holds a copy of the record. Can you see on the screen? Everybody holds a copy of the same record. And since it's distributed, so let's say somebody alters the record. Let's say a real estate developer alters its record, or destroyed, or try to remove a failed inspection. What will happen? Automatically on a blockchain, if somebody tries to tamper, it will get deleted. And every member, like insurance contractor, government, builder, owner, architect, and real estate, they all have the good copy of the information, the correct copy of the information. So they will say, oh, somebody has tampered with the record. Remove that record and copy and paste that record to him. That means give him the correct copy. So as you can see, they can easily replace any tamperable record and also replace it with the correct record. And also the third thing is they can find out who has done that. In that case, real estate developers has tried to tamper with the data. So other have been notified, oh no, this is not correct. So they have also find out who is the culprit to do that. And since these real estate chains are built on top of each other, so it becomes kind of distributed, okay, over a period of time. So just to explain, to understand what is a blockchain, that if anybody tries to tamper with the data, it will be notified accordingly. I'll explain it to you in a much more simpler manner with a video. So as you can see, the problem with the centralized was it can be tampered. There is a trust, but you have to verify whether all the records are correct, and it is slow. As we can see in the blockchain, it is already trusted, immediately recorded, and it is easily available because of its distributed and non-tamperable nature. So let's revisit the gap analysis, what we've discussed in the beginning of the presentation. So as you can see, I told you there was knowledge gap, there was a power gap, there was a distance gap with the advent of internet. So which gap this blockchain actually fills? And that gap is called the trust gap. This is very important. Now you would say me, why this trust gap? See, it's very easier to trust a fellow human, correct? But nowadays, with the advent of AI and robotics and different technologies and with the internet, there are cases where a human is interacting with a computer on a website, on an internet. Let's say when you buy anything from Amazon.com or a Flipkart, you are actually trusting the website. There is not a human sitting on a Flipkart website to do that. So you are actually interacting with a machine. So you need to trust that machine. Plus, in future with AI, there will be technologies where computer to computer there will be interaction. So let's say I have scheduled a thing that run this transfer of money on this date every month. Let's say every first of month, please automatically pay my bill for electricity, water, and internet, and the rental, everything through an app. I just schedule it. I'm not running it. I've just scheduled it, and on that particular day, the mobile application will automatically start interacting with the services, which is again a machine, and do that. So we need to trust those things. This trust gap is building, and it is increasing day by day. So as you can see, there was from zero trust to abundant trust. We were able to fill it with many things. But now there is even increase in abundant trust. So the timeline is actually increasing because we are not in the only in the era of human to human interaction for business, but even machines are getting on making daily transactions for us. So the trust gap is increasing. So what will happen? Like, as I said, with the advent of printing press, there were knowledge companies which came into existence. With the machine engine, a lot of manufacturing companies. So 18th century, you can see the history, a lot of manufacturing companies open up. In the 19th century, with the invention of internet, online companies were there. So now in the coming years, this century belongs to the trust companies. So a lot of companies which will, sell trust or based on the model of trust. are gonna open. Uh,
Sorry, you may proceed.
Now, many a times we have been to supermarkets, correct? And sometimes we find that there are some set of strawberries and there are some other set of strawberries. Some are different qualities, but you would have seen somewhere where they have labeled it as organic. See, these food items are organic. How can we say that these strawberries are organic or real? We can't. We just have to trust that supermarket that this is a strawberry which is for 10 dirhams and this is for 25 dirhams and labeled as organic. Are we able to find out? No, we cannot find out. There is no way we can find out whether it's organic or not. We will eat it, it will taste differently, it will feel, we will just feel, we will trust our decision making that we have purchased an organic strawberry. But how to check? Can we verify? No. So suppose, just imagine when a day when a strawberry company comes out and puts a QR code. Okay, now understand what happens. I will scan this QR code. It will show me all the transactions, all the things that can happen in that strawberry from farm and what all the chemicals and fertilizers have been put on a farm, and from farm to supermarket, what were the layers through which it has passed on, what were the different entities it has passed on. So it will show the record of all the history of this particular strawberry, and then I will be able to trust because it is put it on a blockchain network, and every transaction, every entry is being there on a blockchain. Nobody, as I told you, nobody can tamper with a blockchain entry. Once a record is written, it's done. So this will make our life very easier. Giving an example of an organic strawberries, I can just scan the QR code, see all the history, all the date, right from the farm to supermarket. And then I will say, I can trust that these strawberries are organic. Now there is no, people can ask the question, oh, somebody can have written a wrong information. As I was told, nobody can tamper the data on the blockchain network at all. So let's, as you can see, as many of the ladies would have understand, there are kitty parties, which were, a group of ladies get together, they discuss, they gossip, they play some games. Okay. A common game in kitty party is like, they normally have this, that each lady contributes, let's say 1,000 rupees every week, every month. So every month they have a kitty party. Let's say there are 12 ladies, each contributes 1,000 rupees, and they have a monthly draw. Well, let's say, suppose lady number 3 has won that draw for that particular month. So she will receive all the 12,000 rupees. The next month, again, there will be a draw, but then that draw will be done only on 11 ladies, not 12, because one of them have already won, so they will not participate. But she will contribute to 1,000 rupees in that. So this is like a small game that they play on the economic side, just for fun. And also, you get the whole money at once. You have to just pay 1,000 rupees. Now you can understand the features of blockchain. First, there is no single super lady who is gonna supervise everyone. So nobody can, just bribe that lady. No, because everybody is independent and everybody gives a consensus. This is what the blockchain is. Second, there is a security. Now, since there is no central lady or a leader kind of a thing, So nobody can bribe her. Okay, you make sure that I get the money, or I just tamper with it. So there is security, there is provenance, there is trust as well, because these games can only be run on basis of trust. And these are the four features of the blockchain technology, with an example for the kitty party. So moving on, let's go to an interesting topic, introduction to Bitcoin. Now let's see what are the issues with the existing bank systems. So let's say in a city, somebody was up to something bad. So there was a hacker who is saying that I hate a particular bank and I am going to steal all their money. Now, why he wants to hate them and why he wants to do that? One is the banks charge high international transfer cost. So if you send it through a bank, they charge their currency exchange, they charge a lot of service fees. A lot of documentation is needed to set up a bank account. And they are not even accessible on many days, called bank holidays. So the hacker is very, very upset with the bank, and that's why he's going to hack. We in no way endorse such things, such crime, because as per him, banks are a central point of failure. So if something happens, let's say there are 100 account holders, some hackers will loot the bank. Every account holder will be at a loss of money, because all the powers are with the bank. If something happens to the bank, they will lose money. As you can see, many places in India, not even in India, in every part of the world, a lot of banks have gone bankrupt. They have lost the money. They've made loss. Some people have ran away with the money. And this is ultimately the account holders are humans like us who are maintaining bank's account, and we are at the loss of money. So this poses a very important question. Since the power resides only with the banking system, and anybody can hack, a good hacker can hack a bank website only on a click of a button. But although the hacker was able to do that, he was caught. But the incident caught the bank manager's attention. And in order not to happen it again in the future, the bank manager asked his IT person that he doesn't want to make sure it doesn't happen again. How to do that? So he told that, why don't we set up our banks using on a blockchain technology? And these are being happening of many places in the world now. People are adopting blockchain technology. Not Bitcoin, no cryptocurrency, but blockchain technology. So bank manager asks, what is the blockchain? So he replies that blockchain is a list of records, as I told you, which stores data publicly and in a chronological order. It is secured using cryptography. Cryptography is another topic. It's just understand it's a secret key, which is to ensure the privacy of the user and the data cannot be changed. It is not controlled by the central authority as in modern financial institutions as of today. Nobody controls the data within the blockchain. And it is accessible to anyone on the network. If you want to join a particular blockchain network, you can easily join on that, and you'll have access to all the data when you join the network. And you will also have copies of the data. So any transaction takes place, everybody has been notified, and they record these transactions. They update those data as well. We'll understand this with a simple example. So the bank manager was curious. He asked, oh, is this the same technology that Bitcoin works on? Yes. Bitcoin couldn't have been possible without blockchain, or for that matter, any cryptocurrency would have not been possible without the blockchain technology. And before going into Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency, you can see over a period of almost thousands of years, as you can see, before there was a barter system, which is exchange of goods. Then in 3000 BC, there were cowrie shells, which were used as a medium of exchange. Then coins were introduced in 600 BC. Then there was banknotes in the 17th century. Then in the years 1950, we have this plastic money called credit cards and debit cards. Then we also had an online payment. You can see a lot of, through app we can do. And now another thing that is building in the future, which has been introduced in 2009, is called cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is the same form of medium of exchange of money, similar to what credit card is, or a note, or a coin, or an e-commerce payment, or electronic payment as well. So Bitcoin was introduced in the year 2009. It is still, nobody knows, but it goes by name Satoshi Nakamoto, who wrote the white paper for this. It aimed to solve the problems faced by fiat currencies with the help of blockchain technology. Fiat currencies means the credit cards or a bank or a note or the different transactions. As of today, there are more than 1600 plus cryptocurrencies. It works on the same principle of Bitcoin and blockchain, and a lot more cryptocurrencies are being added to that. It's still not many people, or let's say the banks and the governments have still not over the world, they have endorsed this particular cryptocurrency or various cryptocurrencies. So how Bitcoin works? So let's say there is a sender and a receiver. Let's say Imdad is sitting in Riyadh, I'm sitting in London. I want to send a Bitcoin to Imdad. It's very simple. I will transmit the details of this transaction that I am sending 2 Bitcoins to Imdad. So all the users which are connected on this blockchain with Imdad and me, okay, so there is a blockchain for transaction from Dubai to London. So these authenticators users are called miners, basically. They're called as miners. They will see, okay, Imtishal is sending 2 Bitcoin to Imdad from Dubai to London to Riyadh. So everybody will see whether in their copy, how much Imtishal has, how much Bitcoins he owns, and how much Bitcoin is there with Imdad. So they will see, okay, in our copy, Imtishal has 3 Bitcoins. So this transaction is valid. That means he can transfer because he has 3, he wants to transfer 2, this is valid. So everybody will authenticate, okay, it's okay to go ahead with this transaction. And they will take this transaction of 2 Bitcoin, they will add it to a blockchain and made a part of that particular blockchain. Once they made a part of that blockchain, the money is deducted from my wallet, digital wallet, and is received by Imdad. And once it is transaction done, everybody will again update their copy, correct? Because there was some amount which was deducted from my wallet and received by Imdad as well. So they have to update that copy as well. Let's understand this with a very small video. Very interesting video.
When you want to buy something normally, using your normal bank card, this is what happens. I give my card details to the shop asks the bank if I'm good for the money. The bank checks its records to see if I've got enough in my account. If I do, it lets the shop know. It updates its records to show the movement of money from my account to the shop's. And it takes a little cut for its trouble. Now, if you wanted to remove the bank from that system, who else would you trust to keep those records and not alter them or cheat in any way? Well, I wouldn't trust you. I wouldn't trust you. In fact, I wouldn't trust any single person, but I might trust everyone. The idea is you don't have a central record of transactions. Instead, you distribute many, many copies of this ledger around the world. Each owner of each copy records every transaction. So, to buy something using cryptocurrency, I give the shop my details. The shop asks all the bookkeepers if I'm good for the money. The bookkeepers all check their records to see if I have enough. If I do, they tell the shop, and then all update their records to show the movement of money. So there's no way that a forged transaction can make it in. If I try to alter a ledger, it won't match all of the other copies, and it gets rejected. Oh, and one of them, at random, will be given a reward of some newly created cryptocurrency. This is how cryptocurrencies work. And remember, all of these bookkeepers, all of these ledgers, they're not actually people. they're computers. Lots of computers.
So as you can see from the video, it's understood how the things happen, and it's completely the computers and the network of computers are there. So you can see there are no single person to do that. It's only the computers or the network of computers that are doing this task of verifying and updating the records. So moving on to the last part. This is introduction to smart contract, and this is very good technologies. Personally, I love this technology. Being in business, being in regional manager for business development and all, this becomes very handy. And I'm actually looking to implement this in my business as well. So let's see what are the smart contract. So traditional contract. So there are two parties. Let's say example. If I want to do a business with a particular company, so there are two parties who are involved. So they will make one contract, and there will be a third party, let's say a bank, who is going to execute that contract. So whenever the contract is fulfilled through this third party, it will be executed. In case of a smart contract, third party is eliminated. So the two parties themselves will interact and do that. How they do that? Let's see that. So as you can see, traditional contract versus smart contract, there are way difference is there. One, third party, you would require a government or a lawyer. In case of smart contract, you don't require any of them. Execution time for a normal contract that happens is like 1 to 3 days, but smart contract can work immediately in minutes. Remittances, the transfer of money. In case of traditional contract, it's a manual process. You have to take out the money or a check or do an online transfer. But in case of a smart contract, you don't have to. It's an automatic process. We'll see in a bit how it is. So there is a transparency in smart contract, which is not there in traditional contract. Storing and keeping a record of that contract is a little difficult, but in case of smart contract, it's very easy. Security is there because it's cryptographically safe, and smart contracts are very cheap to maintain. And it will have a digital signature as well. Whereas in manual process, you have to take the signatures of so many pages, so many things, and it's a little complex. So consider a real life example. We have all been to airports and many places where there are vending machines. So you put a set of coin, and outcomes you can select whether you want a chocolate or a juice or a water or that sort of. So let's say you deposit 5 dirhams in a vending machine, okay, and you select a number whatever that you want. Let's say I want to have a chocolate bar which has written A1. So once I enter the money, enter the coins, I will select A1, which is marked against the chocolate bar. And once you have selected that, the vending machine will push that chocolate bar, and out comes the chocolate bar from the lever below, and you can take and enjoy your chocolate. Smart contracts works in the same way. Consider a smart contract is very similar to a vending machine. It eliminates the need of any middleman. So when I interact with the machine, okay, there are no middlemen present. I am directly interacting. This is the principle on which smart contracts work. And to give you an example with that, smart contracts are self-executing contracts. We have to understand. These contracts execute by itself when a particular terms and condition which is agreed by both the parties are met. So you don't know, there is no way that, okay, the conditions are met, now we are going to do it. No, it executed by itself. We'll see with an example. Okay. So smart contracts enable the transfer of everything from Bitcoin, even today currency in rupees, riyals, and dirhams, to goods transported around the world. So these are basically written as a computer code. Understand, these contracts are written in a digital computer code, and even the agreement is written. So once a certain condition which has been predefined by both the parties are met, automatically this code will run on a decentralized blockchain platform, and whatever they have agreed, the exchange of money, share, property, or anything which they have were done for the exchange, it will automatically be transferred exactly. I'll give you an example very shortly. Let's consider my friend Salman is at a Paris airport, and his flight has got delayed. Now here I'm going to take an example of a travel insurance company. So there is a company called AXA Life Insurance, AXA. They have they have used this smart contract. Okay, now understand. So Salman is at the Paris airport, his flight is delayed. Now his flight has been delayed for almost 5 hours now. So he is feeling very bad. Without any benefit, he has paid for the flights, and again he has to wait for the 5 hours. It would be very benefit for Salman if he has signed up for a AXA smart contract travel insurance. You know, there are travel insurances. Whenever you take a flight, whenever you book a flight, you can purchase a travel insurance. If in case if flight is cancelled, flight is delayed, or if you have a lost baggage or anything, if that happens, if that conditions are met, you can claim that amount from the insurance company. You can call them, you can tell them, okay, my flight has been delayed, or my flight is cancelled, or my baggage is lost. And as you said during when selling this insurance, you will pay me this amount, you will pay me this amount, so and so. So he has to claim it, he has to contact. Many places, people don't like, oh, again, for this insurance, I have to call that company, send several emails, reminders, and only they will pay. It's a cumbersome task, and somebody who will not even pay. So you have to go to their office, wait in a queue, make your claim, it goes on and on. So Salman, what if he has signed an AXA smart contract travel insurance? So there is a Fizzy app developed by this insurance company, which works on a blockchain technology. So what happens? They term it as AXA flight delay insurance. It is one of the example of a smart contract that they use. And this smart contract code is linked to a database, which records all the flight status, which is running on that particular country. And it enables automatic compensation if there is a delay of 2 or more hours. So if you have this insurance in your country, and if you have purchased this insurance for a particular amount, automatically you will be compensated if there is a delay of 2 or more hours with your flight. So you don't need to run behind the company to claim, insurance company to claim and get your money. Automatically you will receive the amount. Let's see for example. Let's say Salman has $10 in his account, and AXA Smart Traveler, they have $200. This is on a blockchain network, and smart contract is in the middle. No amount is there in the smart contract. So what happens? Salman, he purchased the AXA smart contract and provide his flight number, and $5 is added to that smart contract. Okay. So AXA sends $95 to the smart contract. So you can see now the smart contract's value changed from $5 to $100, because AXA Smart Traveler says you purchase for a $5, and in case of flight delay, we'll give you $95 back as a part of the insurance policy. So now $100 is received by the smart contract. Now, if the flight is delayed for 2 or more hours, if it is delayed, yes. In case if it is delayed, automatically $100 you can see from the middle smart contract will automatically gets credited into Salman account. Automatically, if the flight is delayed, he doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to contact the company. Even the company doesn't need to contact Salman to recompensate him for the thing. If it is not delayed, then what happens? AXA is sent 100 from the smart contract back. So you can see there is a middle thing called smart contract, but it executes itself. Nobody can control it. Neither Salman, not the AXA Smart Traveler app. It's already there as a part of a digital code. If a condition is met, it follows. If a condition is not met, to give you an example, I supply systems to almost 400 hotels in Saudi Arabia. Software. What happens? Every year I collect annual maintenance contract, 12%, 15% of the amount that they've purchased. So what happens? My AMC team, every year they have to remind these people, sir, your AMC manual maintenance contract is up for renewal. You have to send this, please place the amount in our bank so that the software continues to function. Now suppose how much easier will be my life. I have 5 people who takes care of the this annual maintenance contract. They prepare that contract, all the customers, they run behind them, to sign the contract, run behind with the technical support once somebody has signed the contract. It's a too complex thing. With a smart contract, I'm developing a smart contract. So what will happen? At the time of purchase, they will sign on that document. I'll enter into a digital contract. So immediately after the annual renewal date, when it comes, automatically from their account, the money will be transferred to my account. So I don't need to worry on that basis. There are cases where people will say, oh, we don't agree on this. There are something that the service is not provided was good. But those rules and regulation can be made at the time of agreement itself, before entering into a smart contract. So they can lay out all the rules and regulation, all the policies, whatever the scenarios are, they can do that. So this is a very good, I would not say everywhere it will be applicable, but some of the places where these are very, very, very useful. So as you can see, advantage of smart contract, you don't have any middleman. The code execute and the transaction takes place without the need for a third party. It's automated because it's through a computer code. High speed, because it is not like a traditional contract. No humans are involved. Automatically it executes. It's high, it's secured, and it's accurate because you write all the terms and conditions accurately before finalizing the smart contracts. And not only these things, there are various industries where blockchain can be utilized. Let's say digital identification. Now, when we go to airport or when we travel, we have to show a document, correct? In a form. Now, slowly, as you can see, there is an app share platform in Saudi Arabia. You no longer require a copy of your Iqama or a hard copy of your Iqama to be. All are everything on a digital platform. So more and more Ministry of Interiors or different government entities all over the world are adopting this digital identification. Revenue management can go to a direct booking as well. So let's say if there is a blockchain network for hotels, you book directly with a hotel. You don't need booking.com or hotels.com or Make My Trip, because they charge that amount. It's a loss of business for both, as the consumer, even the vendor. So eliminate all the middleman. There are audit trails, so I can immediately find out if somebody hacked, who is the culprit, because somebody who needs to hack have to be a part of a network. He cannot just join anonymously and mess up with the system. And smart contracting are being employed by many different companies as per their scenarios. So smart contracting is a wonderful application. Plus, we can also use blockchain technology to automate taxes, which can mitigate the strain of audits. Now, if every entry is recorded properly, there is no chance of any fraudulent transaction would have happened, or anybody would have tampered with the data. So the audit people doesn't have to care, because it's on a blockchain. Nobody can just tamper with the data. Even as I told you example of AMC's annual maintenance contract, even payment handling for sales, some digital identification products, even voting. Nowadays voting, people say people tampers with EVM or ballot paper or something. Now imagine if you are voting on a blockchain network, every people is accountable for his vote. Nobody can delete a vote. Nobody can add a vote, because it is added as a sequential order of the blockchain. So nobody can remove, nobody can tamper with the blockchain. That's the beauty of these technologies. So this brings me to the conclusion. So what are the key takeaways? So blockchain is a revolutionary technology. It will make our life simpler and safer. It will change the way how we store information, more likely the personal information, and how the transactions are made worldwide. Blockchain technology creates a permanent and immutable. Immutable means we cannot modify, delete, or change the record of every transaction. It's a digital ledger. So all the information, loss, data theft, hacking, fraudulent transaction is impossible with this. Smart contracts working on a blockchain makes it possible to exchange a lot of things, property, money, assets, safely without any middleman. And this technology is going to affect every industry in the world, whether it's manufacturing, retail, healthcare, real estate, transportation, and so on. So just give you an example. Google, IBM, Microsoft, American Express, Walmart, Nestle, Chase, Intel, Hitachi, and Dole are all working to become early adopters of blockchain. Even Wall Street have now also started working on a blockchain. And it has been projected that nearly $400 trillion across many industries is going to be transformed by blockchain. I'm in Dubai. Let me give you an example. Dubai government as well as UAE government has adopted blockchain technology for car driving license, history of cars which are sold on a second-hand market, everything on a blockchain. So nobody can tamper with the data. Even in many places in the government, they have started with the blockchain. Even real estate transaction. When I was about to buy a house in Dubai, I got that document. I see the record of the main copy of the ownership document. I saw there was something written as a blockchain. Something there was a QR code. When I scanned that QR code, I got the history of that particular apartment, when it was built, what it was, how many hands it has changed over, every record, because the Dubai government is putting everything on a blockchain. This is the power of the blockchain. And I would like to conclude by saying this: every company in the world today, not just the middleman, not just the intermediaries, are like bank or foreign exchange house or any middleman of that sort, are at risk of having a competition from a blockchain versions of themselves. So, friends, we are at a new paradigm shift in this world at this point of time. And that paradigm shift, that trust gap, will be taken over by blockchain. It's a future. As I told in the beginning, don't think of what is happening now. You have to think 40 years from now on what this technology will hold. With an example of what 40 years back internet was. We have all seen the growth of internet, how the internet has been used. From web 1.0, web 2.0, now we are into web 3.0. So you have to see what the future holds for the blockchain technology 40 years from now. So we are at the paradigm shift of a new era of internet, and the technology that is going to change that is called blockchain. It's been a wonderful speaking to all of you. Thank you so much for listening and joining. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Engineer Intisal. Thank you for providing this very interesting presentation. Certainly, the blockchain technology is on the brink of overtaking almost everything. The most important thing in this, the presentation, what I learned was the trust, what you outlined. Basically, trust is something which is not cannot be validated anywhere. Certainly, blockchain is challenging a major status quo across the world, authenticating something which is really not easy to do. So that was actually very insightful. I'm really thankful to you. There are a few questions here in the chat session which I tried to note. I'll put those first in front of you, and maybe we can give others or attendees also some option to ask you a few questions. There was one question from Mr. Maqsood. If I got it correct, he was checking how many different types of blockchain today. I mean, he means there as cryptocurrencies, and what are the most widely accepted of those. So would you like to give some details about it?
Okay, there are no different types of blockchain. Blockchain is, as I told, it's a technology. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like a set of computer systems which are acting on behalf of humans, working on each other's trust. So there is no different types of blockchain, but this blockchain technology can be adopted in various organizations. So if I'm a real estate developer, I can utilize it for my company. I'll create a blockchain network, piece of a code. It's a software. Okay, just imagine it's a piece of software running on a network of computers. So I can have a real estate blockchain. If I want to do for my company, for the maintenance contract, I can do that. If somebody wants to do for manufacturing, they can do that. So like this thing. So it depends on the usage of blockchain. There are no different types of blockchain. Like we cannot categorize that.
Right. That totally makes sense. So moving on, actually, I have one question I want to jump in because I have the liberty to ask. So I'm asking, maybe this resonates to other attendees as well. My question is on smart contracts. This looks like a very interesting thing to understand. The contracts are executed, automated. They don't need to be any validation or anything. But there are certain conditions that needs to be met to qualify that. How these conditions are validated, whether they met or not. like, or is this like will this be a integrated system together with like, some automations on both end parties, or some like, could you please give some insights on that?
Okay. What is a very good question you asked. It's basically an automated system only. Okay, so instead of writing, let's say, instead of writing a paper contract, see, normally when, let's say, as I told, let's say Imdad and myself are going to buy a house. Imdad is going to buy my property in Mumbai. So I will have all my title deeds, everything, all the documents. So Imdad will not trust me for this house, whether it belongs to myself or no. So he will put up a lawyer, which is a middleman, correct? So the lawyer will draw up the contract. He will see all the records. Okay, now, okay, we can make this contract, ownership document. We'll go to the developer or the builder, sit with him. He will charge his money. He will say, okay, now this is verified. Yes, Intishal is the true owner. So Imdad will then trust him. But in case of smart contract, we are doing everything digitally. Okay. So there is a piece of an app, or there are applications, some softwares which does that. Okay. So we will go to them and say, okay, yeah, just develop a smart contract. If these particular conditions are met, this is met, automatically the transaction will happen. No need of any middleman, no need of paying any service charges. I'm just giving you a rough example, and I give you an example of that travel insurance from AXA. They use this smart contract for their insurance claim purposes. So they have developed an app. Understand one thing, they have developed an app. Everything is on a digital platform and automated.
So these conditions are developed as a digital, like, requirements. Once those requirements are met, it will automate. That's really, really helpful. Thank you. There are a few more questions here. If I would like to, is crypto halal?
Okay. Very good question. My brother, my youngest sibling, is very, very mad about cryptocurrency. And he do a lot of transactions. He make profit, he do it. So he used to ask, and many of my friends and his friends used to ask me, whether it is halal. First of all, I'm not a mufti who can raise a fatwa. But I, honestly speaking for myself, I've been listening about cryptocurrency and everything. I never invested in it. The reason being, there are some set of muftis who have termed it as halal. There are some who have termed, oh no, it's not backed by any government thing or anything. It's not halal. So there is no consensus in the ummah whether it's halal or not. And what my point of view, my lifestyle is, what my principles dictates, if there is a confusion, better not to go with this. So if you ask me from my personal point of view, I'm not telling it for anyone. You can go ahead and do cryptocurrency. My brothers does that. One of my best friend does that. I've not told them, oh no, don't do it. It's not halal. It's confusion. And when it comes to confusion, my personal point of view is I will refrain from it. That's my personal view.
That totally makes sense. Moving on, like, there is a big, like, hype around these days regarding metaverse. How do you relate metaverse to blockchain, and how they are interrelated, and how they are connected? Is there any link between them?
Absolutely. See, metaverse wouldn't have been possible without the blockchain. So basically, metaverse combines the capabilities of virtual reality, blockchain, and NFT technology. It's create a virtual space and sell it as a virtual thing. Let's say there is a painting by M.F. Hussain. So let's say if M.F. Hussain would have been alive, you could have created a virtual piece of that art, and you could have sold on this. So basically, metaverse is basically combining blockchain and virtual reality together. That's basically the link of it.
Thank you. There are a few questions on cryptocurrencies. I'm actually skipping those. The only reason behind that is, as we discussed in the beginning of this session, this session is purely on the education purpose of the technology, that is blockchain, and not the cryptocurrencies. So I'm skipping the questions which are related to which is the best cryptocurrency, or how we can become like overnight billionaire and others. So please pardon me for not including those questions here. One of the good questions which we have here is from Mr. Abdul Latif, is every technology has certain loopholes or drawbacks. So what kind of drawbacks or loopholes are there in blockchain?
See, one of the most important things is, we have a banking system which has been employed all over the world, the government, the agencies, the international agencies, they trust that network. It's a system. It has its loophole, but still people trust them. When it comes to blockchain, the early adoption of the blockchain is very difficult because you are telling eliminate those banks, eliminate those middlemen, eliminate everyone. So you can see how much the unemployment will be there. You don't need lawyers. Okay, you don't need any middlemen like banks, foreign exchange, brokers. They will be out of business. That is a big disadvantage of the blockchain technology. What can be done is one, we should find a way, an ecosystem where we can take some good things from the existing processes, existing systems, combine it with the blockchain. Then we can survive, both of them can survive together in a secured and safe manner. There are questions raised that maybe for terrorism or for illegal fraud or for some money transactions fraudulent, people can use blockchain. Yes, they can. That is one of the disadvantage, that they can. Yes, it can be used for that. But
So you're
see,
saying there
everything,
are- Yeah.
everything has its own merits and demerits. Everything you take into this world, it has its merit and demerits. It's what you adopt.
That makes sense. That totally
Yes.
makes sense. Another interesting question here in the chat is we all understand the material things can be validated through this system. Is there any use case which has been already done where you can actually validate the trust of a human being?
Okay, can you repeat the question?
Okay, you're saying that you can validate the trust, through of the commodities, like let's say home, right? Whether there is any breach in the data available with their trust and other things of that property. Is there any use case similar to like this on the human beings, where the background or the history of a human being itself is recorded in a blockchain, and that can be validated? I believe that's the question here. It's a pretty long question, but I tried to summarize it.
Okay, let me give you an example. Shadi.com. Let's take an example of marriage. See, it's a human nature. When we talk about marriages, we talk only about the positive things, correct? Nobody tells the negative things when you're getting married to another person. So if, let's say, if my daughter, if I'm finding a groom for my daughter, I will only tell the good things about my daughter. I will never tell the negative things. And as a human, we don't do that. Okay, so for example, let's say there is a marriage portal working on a blockchain network, and we would like to participate in that network, and we have to put all the records, each event that is going to happen right from the childbirth to his marriage. So if somebody comes up with it's a complex thing. If somebody comes up with it, if somebody puts a thing, that record can be, we can trust the person, whether the criminal history or anything. But as I'm telling, these things, human to human, finding a trust, it's very complex, because ultimately things will lies on our ethics, what information we are going to feed in, correct? So it's still human to human way of finding the trust still lies with the human itself, of how honest, how ethical he is of disclosing that information.
Makes sense. So the one last question I read out from the chat, and then I hand it over to a few others from the participants. One question from Maqsood A here is: does quantum computing threatens blockchain security?
See, quantum computing is a very different thing from, it works on the quantum mechanics. So I think it will not threat, but quantum computing can be combined with the blockchain technology. It can be applied to any blockchain network.
Perfect. There may be a few other questions here. I'll get back there, but before that, I want to ask Mr. Mehboob Ali. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
To add that on that quantum computing, there is a company called Honeywell. You can check Honeywell. There is a startup company. I'm not remembering the name, but Honeywell company is taking that startup company. They're combining the quantum security technology with the blockchain network. So you can just search for that.
I'll write it here for everyone.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you very much for the organizers and Mr. Imtiaz Ali for your very nice presentation, and it's very clear, crystal clear. Okay, I am also belongs to IT, but I like your presentation. I have one small question. Just you said that the decentralized members of the
On the
blockchain,
video, please.
okay, or the Bitcoin,
On your mute, please.
If suppose I have some coins, I want to sell the coins. I have been approved to sell the coins. So if another members of the if the other members has not approved the what you call the approvals of the sale of the Bitcoin or anything, any document, then how it will act in this case?
No, blockchain works on the principle of consensus. If everybody agrees, then only this transaction will take place.
Because there
That's
are
the
thousands of
beauty.
members and
Yeah,
n numbers of members.
and let it be a
If somebody
numbers.
has not been seen and they're not following up the transactions, what is happening behind?
Okay, understand one thing. Yeah, Mr. Mehboob, those are not peoples. Those are actually computers. You would have heard of mining or
Yeah, I know.
miners. So
No.
basically, it's a complex computer system which solves this complex algorithm. So there is no person who can take a decision by himself. See, we humans have a decision-making capability. We can see what is right, which is wrong. Computers don't work on that. Computer, you have written the code, it will work like that.
So all the approvals are based. So all the approvals are based on the logic behind.
Logic, yes, it's behind the logic.
On the behind logic, they will see if and else statements, and it will approve the.
It will, yes,
There is
absolutely.
no false statements.
Absolutely, that's what
So
it is.
there is no manual interface.
No manual interface.
Okay. So for this one, one more question. For this one, do we need to, as a member, do we need to keep our systems always on?
Probably yes. That's why you. I want you to make a little research on mining. Okay, miners for
Yes.
cryptocurrency. Just read that article. You'll understand very clearly. Okay. I don't want to start the whole process just because we are running a period of time. But
I too don't want to.
Just go to Wikipedia and search cryptocurrency mining. You'll get the answers easily.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mehboob. We'll move on because we have few others as well. Mr. Fahad, was your question already answered from the chat, or you have any other question?
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I have like few questions. Like one question was that how does like I'm really sorry I'm talking about crypto right now, but just wanted to know how does people become overnight billionaires in this crypto by investing in crypto? And second thing,
explicitly said that we would like not to take that question, but yeah.
No, let him complete the
I'm
question.
sorry, just one more thing.
Just one more thing. Just one more thing. I really apologize for that. Just one more thing. I just want to know, as a layman, if anybody wants to build a career in blockchain, from where to start, and is it like possible for a non-engineering background person to do it, or what is the way forward? Like, does it have any like path where you can like tell us from where we can start, if it can be possible? Yeah.
Absolutely. You start with the understanding the technology. So there are various universities who are going to teach you about this blockchain. If you say non-computer background or non-IT background can do that, yes, it's possible. Hard work is more, but if you are from a IT background, it is much more easier how to do that. Yes, there are institutions which are giving up courses now. You can search even for the online courses on blockchain. Just Google it, online courses. You can see the certified universities, enroll in those, and you can get it. Why not?
Perfect. One last question. I think because we are running out of time, we'll value the time of other members.
At what age we can start learning, and we can start to your students? Yeah, for example, if you're talking about the students, what grade we can start about exposing them to the blockchain technology?
I think after 12th, 10+2, that will be the right time to introduce this technology.
Thank you.
Because until 12th, your analysis skills are much more developed.
Yeah. Actually, we have very limited time remaining now. I would refrain anyone from asking further questions. I would give last chance to Mr. Altaf Hussain He was actually waiting since long time. Please, for any other questions, maybe you can reach out to Mr. Intisal on his LinkedIn. We have shared his LinkedIn to you in the chat. I would really appreciate using that channel for further communication. Mr. Altaf Hussain, please proceed with your question.
Please switch on your video, please. Huh?
Assalamualaikum. He said his question is already answered.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We will move on to the next part of our session, which is almost like towards the closing side. Thank you again, Mr. Intisal, for answering the questions, taking valuable time for that. So that was some good learning session. As we move towards the last part of our session today, I'd like to invite President of Gulbarga Welfare Society Riyadh Chapter, Engineer Imdad Ali, to address the audience. He has been the front runner for organizing today's session, bringing in the team together, and successfully making sure that we are running today's program. So I'd like him to address the audience today.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Tamim, for giving me an opportunity to speak. Really, I am very much glad to see you all and such a wonderful session. And it was a very informative. Alhamdulillah, I was expecting that I am basically a civil engineer, but I was very afraid that I may understand this, the blockchain topic or not, but Intisal Ali has delivered it in a very perfect way, and it was very wonderful session. Thank you, Engineer Intisal. Actually, through the platform of Gulbarga Welfare Society, Alhamdulillah, we are continuously organizing such type of technical seminars and skill development courses and conducting seminars, webinar like this, and we have a lot of upcoming projects which we are going to work for upliftment of our society. Our aim is to just discover an opportunity, a new idea, and knowledge which will be beneficial for you all, and our aim is to educate all, because by connecting a proper bridge with the industry experts, we aim to fill the gap between the students and the industry experts. This is our major task which we are concentrating on, and we feel that we need lot of intellectuals are required at this stage to join us to make this happen. In future, such type of webinar we will conduct for the benefit of our society, our country, and uplifting our community. It is a social cause, and our intention and our reason of conducting such a webinar is very social, and we want everyone to be benefited from this type of seminars. And we don't have any secret agenda, or we don't promote any type of business or any type of fundraising and for conducting such type of seminar. It's a social cause, and Alhamdulillah, as you know that we adapt a best implementation plan to for mentoring the students in the best possible way, and choose to help them to grow their career. As you know, the value of degree is slowly vanishing, and it has some weightage. But additional to that, the company and any organization, what they are looking for is what special skill you have, what special you can do for them. So gathering the knowledge at continuous stage, it is very essential for everyone to gather the knowledge, because you have to update your skill continuously. It's a process of learning, and it's a process of sharpening your skill. So we request you to join such social organization like us, who are connecting such type of webinar, and their intention is pure to help the community. So we want everyone to be social. You, me, and all, everyone have some social responsibilities to work for the upliftment of our community and to upliftment of our family. You can say some have responsible for the community and some for the nation. So we all have our social responsibility to. So I request everyone, especially मैं उन लोगों से गुजारिश करता हूँ जो allied professionals हैं, जो बहुत ही काबिल तरीन शख्सियात हैं, जो अपने उस मुकाम को पहुँच चुके हैं, जिनके पास इतना एक्सपीरियंस है कि वो जो है ना अपनी कम्युनिटी, हमारी कम्युनिटी को, नेशन को जो है ना आगे बढ़ा सके। क्योंकि like what engineer Intishal has done, such type of knowledge, if we spend 110 years, we will not get it. In a short time, we are enabling to access that type of knowledge. So whatever you can do, we request you to come forward and join our platform. And also we request to the people, to the students, like we are conducting another type of seminar, like Primavera courses or any other technical courses we will conduct. Just help us to reach to the correct students and just share our message to the concerned person, because आपको पता नहीं होगा कि हो सकता है ये टॉपिक आपके लिए इंटरेस्टेड ना हो सकता है ये सब्जेक्ट आपके लिए यूजफुल ना हो, बट ये सब्जेक्ट किसी और के लिए यूजफुल होगा। तो आप हमारे इस एम्स, हमारे इस ऑब्जेक्टिव को अचीव करने में भी हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि आप हमारी इसमें मदद करेंगे इंशाल्लाह। मैं यही आपसे गुजारिश करूंगा। इस शेयर के साथ आप सब लोगों को दावत भी दूंगा। जिंदगी अपने लिए जीना कोई बात नहीं, खून गर अपनी रगों में है रवां तो कुछ भी नहीं, और ऐसा दरिया जो जड़े अपनी ही सैराब करे तब सहरा की तरह खुश्क है। दोस्तों, जिंदगी एक नेमत रब्बानी है, आओ इस नेमत रब्बानी की ताज़ीम करें, थोड़ा थोड़ा इसे औरों में भी तकसीम करें। बहरे कानों के लिए मौज समाअत ढूंढे, अंधी आंखों के लिए नूर बसीरत ढूंढे, दस्ते पाशल हो अगर तो क़ुव्वत ताकत ढूंढे, और सूखे होठों के लिए नगमों की रंगत ढूंढे। ऐ खुदा जज्बे इसार अता कर हमको, जो है गुफ्तार वो किरदार अता कर हमको। Thanks a lot for all the attendees, and especially thanks to Engineer Intishal who has given such a precious time. This is not possible with the support of my team. I thank my team, Engineer Mukhtar, Mr. Mukhtar, Engineer Shamuddin, Dr. Khaja Mainuddin, and Azhar, Tamim, Engineer Muhammad Adil, Mr. Nawaz, Mr. Arif, Mohsin, and Ubaid for joining this session and supporting me for conducting such a wonderful event. And inshallah, I hopeful we will conduct some similar seminars in futures. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to serve our community and our nation. So thank you all for being with us. And there is one more important notification. I request our moderator to just we are going to provide digital certificate attendance to all the registered candidates. I request the moderator just to share the sample certificates we are going to provide for the attendees who get registered to us. Mr. Azhar, can you share the screen? Make a full screen, please. Make a full screen. Make a full screen. Can you make it from the beginning list? It's clear for all? I think it's partially. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's clear.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Next, please. So these are the students who get registered to us, and we will provide the certificate of attendance as a token of appreciation. If anyone didn't register yet, just please note down my number. You can personally message me on WhatsApp your full name, qualification, and email, so that we will provide you this certificate of attendance, inshallah. Can you show my number, Mr. Azhar? I request you to show my number so that they can note down. They can message me personally. You can note down my number, please. 056 101 2498.
Also, please share in chat.
Yeah, I can. You can share in the chat also. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Back to Tamim. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Imdad, for addressing the audience and sharing the greater vision of Gulbarga Welfare Society, which mainly focuses on empowering the community through education activities. So now I'd like to invite the chief guest of today's webinar, Engineer Sayyid Nasir Khurshid Saab, who is President of Gulbarga Welfare Society in Jeddah. He is also one of the founding members of Gulbarga Welfare Society, who has continuously been engaged in empowering the community in Saudi Arabia and back in Gulbarga and greater part of Karnataka. So I'd like to invite him to address the audience with his wise words. Please, Mr. Nasir. Yeah, Mr. Nasir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Tamim, for these kind words. You are today master of ceremony. I can say you are master in many fields. Once Mahatma Gandhi said, live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Today's keynote speaker, Mr. Imtishal Ali, President Gulbarga Welfare Society Riyadh Chapter Engineer Muhammad Imdad Ali, Executive Committee members, globally connected well-wishers, distinguished guests, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and very warm good evening to all of you. Good morning to some friends who joined us from Western countries. On screen, I can see Aman joining from USA. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening will be memorable for all of us. Hope you all agree with me. We got a lot of stuff to take home from today's webinar. Thanks to Mr. Imtishal Ali, one of the most amazing and stunning personalities I have come across, for giving such a wonderful presentation today. Thanks to Imdad GWS President and his entire team for giving us opportunity to attend and listen this vibrant speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, Gulbarga Welfare Society is since more than 15 years striving to help underprivileged people of our society, irrespective of caste, creed, and religion. Normally people say, ye suit boot or in shirt mein rehne wale kya social work kar sakte hain. Our team have proved that intellectuals of the society can definitely help less fortunate people of the society more better way. I request all of you to be the part of our mission, bringing smile on the faces who have tears. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from helping poor and needy people, हमारी टीम एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम्स में भी बढ़ चढ़कर हिस्सा ले रही है. पहले भी इस किस्म के सेमिनार्स ऑनलाइन एंड ऑफलाइन होते रहे हैं. I think you all, most of you have attended earlier also. So kindly stay connected with us for more such useful events. For your kind information, GWS President Jubail, Mr. Abul Qasim, I think he's here online now. He's planning to conduct a webinar on other topic. So that will be also very useful. Under the leadership of Abdul Hasib Noman in Gulbarga, we have successfully conducted Kannada coaching classes for students and office employees. Anyway, there are a lot of things to be discussed. I don't want to take much of your time. Everything was fine here. Sirf dinner ki kami rahi hai. Thanks to all of you. Good night. Shabba khair. Shubratri. Shubratri. Maasalam.
Inshallah, the Ramzan is coming. Our greetings to all the attendees. Happy Ramzan to all of you.
Thank you, Engineer Nasir Sahab, for addressing the audience. This event wouldn't have been possible without the presence of such a great audience and the guests. To honor their presence, I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Adil, Joint Secretary of Gulbarga Welfare Society Riyadh Chapter, to give vote of thanks.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thanks, Tamim. It's been a privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks for this session. I'll make sure to keep it short. Honorable Chief Guest, Engineer Syed Nasir Khurshid, President Gulbarga Welfare Society Jeddah Chapter, respected Speaker Engineer Imtishal Ali, and President for Gulbarga Welfare Society Riyadh Chapter Engineer Muhammad Imdad Ali, our valued invited guests and fellow webinar attendees, a very good evening, and like Nasir Sahab said, good morning to some of the attendees from western part of the country, world. I, on behalf of Gulbarga Welfare Society Riyadh Chapter and the entire supporting team, extend a very heartiest vote of thanks to all the attendees and speakers for gracing this event for the current burning topic, which is blockchain, the next era of internet, and sharing with us great ideas and opinions today. A big thank you to Engineer Imtishal Ali for your efforts towards providing valuable time, knowledge, and guidance to all of us. You were very simple yet clear with your explanation. The session was really informative as well as entertaining at the same time, especially with your real-time examples. I also wish to express my gratitude to our program anchor, Engineer Tamim, who is Vice President, Gulbarga Welfare Society, Riyadh chapter, for encouraging and holding us by his great words. And obviously, I thank all my team who is supporting in backend for this session. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to say that we are all grateful to all attendees, speakers, chief guest Syed Nasir Khurshid Saab, who is President Gulbarga Welfare Society, Jeddah chapter, for making this event a great success. We thank you all for being with us this evening. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shad. Thank you very much. Thank you. Before we officially close today's webinar, I would like to share some notes. Like President Muhammad Imdad Ali said, the presentation of this webinar will be made available as downloadable file. We also have recorded this webinar. So we are planning to make this video available for future viewing. The certificates which we showed earlier will also be distributed to all the registered participants on their email IDs and WhatsApp. If anyone has not received their certificates, they may reach out to us or one of the co-hosts here. You can get connected to them. Plus, like other members highlighted, if you are really interested in becoming a member of Gulbarga Welfare Society, please connect with one of the office bearers who are also co-hosts for today's webinar session. So Gulbarga Welfare Society has many interesting events planned, like few of them we highlighted a little while ago, like having a Primavera course or one of the course organized from the Damam chapter. So you will hear more from us in the coming days. So please stay connected. I hope you have found today's webinar interesting. Before we finally close, let us all have one last photo session, and maybe we can then sign off. Once again, from bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank you all for taking out your precious time. We know that Ramzan is approaching. It's almost time here in Saudi as well of Maghrib. So we'll try to not take much time. Happy Ramzan Mubarak to all.
Let us have some general interaction with the available audience, because we have a lot of senior. I see our respectable Dr. Anwar Khurshid Saab. I would like to please share.
I request all to please open your videos, everyone, and then maybe we can have a small interaction. In the meantime, we'll also take the photos.
Yes.
So appreciate.
My only interaction is the presentation was excellent, and I congratulate the organizers for this, and heartiest congratulations to the speaker who has taken efforts to make the difficult topic a simple one. And we like to hear further from him in any other platform or the same platform. We like to hear from him, and we wish all the best to Gulbarga Welfare Society. And I'm in Riyadh, and I offer my services to Gulbarga Welfare Society in any way I could be able to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I request Muhammad Abul Qasim Sahab, just please share your view also.
Thank you, Imdad, for this wonderful opportunity. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. I am joining from Jubail. Here the time is 8:06 here in the night, 8 p.m. Sorry. So thank you, Mr. Ali Sahab, for giving this wonderful presentation. Unfortunately, most of the part I missed because I was busy some other program. Probably this was the one of the best. What I had the feelings of our Riyadh president says, it was one of the best. Being a civil engineer, if he can understand like a layman, for me, it will be easy also. Once you share the video of the program, inshallah, I'll also go through if any doubt and all that. First, I'll get clarified from the Imdad. Then after that, I'll approach to you. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time all the way from UK. I believe you are attending from UK, isn't it? Thank you very much. From the Jubail.
Actually, it is.
Currently, I'm in Riyadh right now on a business trip.
Riyadh, you are there, Riyadh. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's why I said the Jubail time also. Probably you may in the US.
I'm in Riyadh.
Please, I request everyone to please on your video, and anyone from you just want to share your views, just raise your hand.
So if not, it's possible, but All the participants were mailed, please.
Yeah. So thank you very much from the Jubail chapter also.
Thank you. Anyone can share their views? Please come forward. Azan time, Maghrib.
So it's already Maghrib time now, so I think we should take the time sign off.
Yeah, it's
if
okay.
there's anyone who would like to volunteer, they can raise their hand, or else we'll be closing in a few seconds.
Yeah. Brother Muhammad Abdul Khadir, can you share your views? Jawadur Rahman bhai, Sham bhai, or
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Jawadur Rahman from Yambu area.
Welcome.
Okay, and I am also from Gulbarga. And I really appreciate this initiative taken to introduce about blockchain. And as this is a very beta version, we need really to understand this in detail by studies. So I would like to request you to share the information links through the WhatsApp group, so that everybody is able to understand what this blockchain is, and we can have a more detailed study on this. And I once again thank you all the people who have made this function success. And I request all the other members to strengthen GWS in any of the areas wherever you are, either in Jubail or Riyadh or Jeddah. So I once again request to please strengthen GWS.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we can close the link now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you again for attending. Thank you very much for making this program successful. Let's stay connected. Our team will get in touch with further inputs later.
Tamim, you have taken photo, Tamim?
I think the team has taken. I'm not.
Cameras are not on. Please request them to keep cameras on so that you can take photograph.
Yes.
I think we have it.
Yes. Yeah, it's done. It's done. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining the session. Happy Ramzan to all of you.
Thank you to everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Ramadan to everyone.
Thank you.